want you to join us today. We're going to be doing some little reaction videos about some of the most viral videos on health on YouTube.
And we've never seen them before. Yeah. So watch how we react and our comments on them.
Yeah, join us today. Follow us right along. Let's go.
Now, I don't want to be critical of the doctor, right? The doctor's got to see a patient every 12 minutes. If you're running a clinic and you're taking care of patients with type 2 diabetes, you've got 12 to 15 minutes with each patient. In 12 to 15 minutes, assuming you even understand enough about exercise physiology and nutrition, are you going to have an impact? Or is it easier to change the prescription and adjust the multiple medications we have that are very effective, by the way, at, curbing type 2 diabetes? Not really reversing it, but keeping it in check. So there's a structural problem that is just getting in the way of doing that. And if you wanted to fix this, you would have to actually do something that reverses it. And I don't think the medications are doing that. I think you have to basically change their nutrition status, change the exercise, fix the sleep.
No doubt about it.
No doubt. I actually tell people every day that there's not anything we have in our store and nothing they can give them medication-wise that's going to control their type 2 diabetes without them changing their diet.
Exactly.
There's no way. And we see people every day with 5 different medications, and they're still severe diabetic. And I have taken some of them same people, put them on a few supplements, changed their diet, but go through it really closely to show them how to do it.
Right.
And their A1C is actually sometimes normal and not even pre-diabetic within 3 months.
Yeah, we've seen that turn around a lot. I think Attia is right on the money with it. We've got to do something totally different out there. There's no doubt about it. What's working, what they're doing now is not working. And we spend a little more time with our patients maybe than he gets to spend with his. But at the same time, like you said, we have to work with them and say, hey, look, you're going to change your diet.
Right.
You're going to have to change your lifestyle.
And I hate to tell you, the American Diabetic Association diet does not control diabetes.
No,
if anything, it makes it worse on some of the things they tell you to do. They tell you that you can eat bread and cereal. I've seen some of the stuff it says, and I'm like, I even had one of our patients one time tell me that they were were sent to the education class that was put on by the American Diabetes Association. And they already knew what we told them and knew that it controlled their sugar. And they got up in front of the class and said, I'm just here to tell you that if I eat like you're telling these people to eat, there is no way I would ever control my diabetes. Yeah. They definitely wanted to kick them out.
Oh, yeah. He's on the right track with it.
Definitely.
No doubt about that. And I think that, I think he's kind of pointed out something that is a real problem. And it's because we keep throwing medications at things. There's not enough medications to overcome a bad diet.
Right.
And I always explain it to people, I put it in really simple terms. You ate your way into this thing, you're going to have to eat your way out of it.
Yep. And there is no, type 2 diabetes is not a medication deficiency.
No.
It is a diet problem.
Right.
And unless the diet and exercises change, that makes a difference. And even, like he said, sleep makes a difference because they've actually shown that can affect blood sugar as well. So there is no doubt that habits that you have every day affect that blood sugar.
No doubt.
Even stress is a big thing that we've seen affect the blood sugar because when cortisol is high, it is also high for the people to control their, blood sugar. And actually, high cortisol also makes high blood sugar. So it makes high blood sugar.
Yes,
it makes
does.
sleep problems. It affects it all. So we always check cortisol when it comes to, that's on every panel, along with our A1C, insulin, all the diabetes markers, because that's what it takes to know what you need to do to help the person control their diabetes.
Exactly.
They make a Canadian version of Froot Loops that they undoubtedly produce in this country, in the US. They already make it, and they already have the formulation for it here. And they ship it up to Canada. And yet, the one that they sell here has red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, blue 1, and BHT. All of those ingredients are not included in their international version of Froot Loops. Why do they sell Americans the shittier, less safe version here? They've acknowledged that natural food colorings are less bright. Yeah. And when they're less bright, they're less attractive to children. Americans want the brighter cereal. That's what they say. And that's and here's the worst part, Mark. The worst part, in some of the food dyes cases, they're not fully banned, but they require a warning label, similar to the warning label you would have on cigarettes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the warning label says, ingredients in this food product may impair your children's learning ability and may cause behavioral disorders in your children.
Right.
And then personally, both of my children are very affected by Red 40 in particular, where my son will come back from a birthday party and he'll be acting like a lunatic. He'll be jumping off the walls. He won't be able to sit still. And my wife and I will literally say to him, Tyson, what did you eat? And he'll say, oh, I had some Skittles, or oh, I ate some Charms Blow Pops, or oh, I had some Froot Loops, or whatever it is. And when we remove the food dyes from their diets, it is a noticeable behavioral change.
Huge.
And there are countless parents that I have met that notice the same thing.
There's over 92 papers documenting the role of food colorings on autism, on behavior, on ADD, on mood, it's behavior disorders across the spectrum. It's quite fascinating.
It is fascinating.
It is. And it's amazing that the rest of the world don't get all those colors, but the people here want it.
Yeah.
And I blame the parents. Parents should not be buying things like that. If everybody stopped buying it, they would stop putting it in there. And that's my opinion, is because you should never, if you read something with dyes and colors, you really shouldn't be giving it to your kids.
No.
It shouldn't be allowed, but as long as they're allowing it, it's the parents that actually have to start reading labels.
Yeah, because kids are not going to read labels. And,
kids don't know any different. They're going to eat what tastes good.
Yeah.
And like they said, maybe it is more attractive to them because the color's brighter, but so what? If they weren't, you give them something that wasn't so bright and they're not used to that, they would want the other.
Yeah.
So I definitely say get rid of the colors, get rid of the stuff in the food, because that is affecting everybody.
It is. I think if we go back, just kind of go back in our own history far enough before Skittles and things like that came into play, and all the dyes and the chemicals, we didn't have ADD, we didn't have ADHD, we didn't have all these behavioral problems that we have now. And it's probably because, if you go back and look at it, we started having that stuff when they started putting all this junk in our foods. In other words, the packaged processed food.
I mean, we actually recommend people don't do packaged processed food to begin with. So if you don't do packaged processed food, you're going to get away from the dyes anyway. But if you're going to do it, you need to read labels and know what you're giving your kids, because to me, you're just hurting them because you're affecting their ability to learn, like they said. You're affecting everything about their daily life, and it's going to be carried on until their into the adulthood. To me,
yeah, because we see adults today that are actually taking drugs for their ADHD, and I'm always like, huh?
We saw a statistic that U.S. is 5% of the world's population.
Yeah.
Okay, but yet the U.S. takes 70% of the world's medications.
Yeah, that includes the over-the-counter stuff and the prescription medications.
And you got to look at it. Part of it is what they're allowing in our food here and what they're doing to the food supply. Yeah. So people need to think about that before they buy this packaged processed food and buy things that, especially with a warning label on it, you should know better.
Yeah, I think the takeaway is really simple. Stop eating packaged processed foods. Pretty simple.
Yep, I agree.
Watch me rebrand cotton candy to sound like a health food. Cotton candy is a challenging one because it's just sugar, but I have a direction to go. Instead of calling it cotton candy, because candy's never going to sound healthy, we're going to call this fruit fluff. This is not flavored with real fruit, but the flavors resemble fruit, so there's nothing stopping us from calling it fruit fluff. And I want to really play into the nature and earth feel of this to make it feel healthier. So we'll give fruit fluff a grassy background, and then what I'm going to do is add a tree with cotton candy for the leaves. And then to play into the fruit theme a little bit more, I will add a bunch of roots with fruit attached to it. I know that all of this fruit is not growing underground, but it looks good, so get off my back. And for the brand that's selling this cotton candy, let's call it Nature's Sweet. This is not a natural product, but it's just the brand name. We could use nature in it. Let's add fat-free and sodium-free, which both are true in cotton candy. And I want to add a very healthy-sounding tagline to this. I'll say a lighter way to satisfy cravings from nature with love. The FDA does have regulations on using the word light if you're talking about nutrient claims. This isn't a claim, this is just a light way to enjoy sweets. And sugar, it's from nature, technically, and with love, of course this is made with love. And then really, really super tiny at the bottom, we'll just say naturally and artificially flavored because they use both of them. There she is. There is our healthy cotton candy. Let me know what you think, and as always, challenge me with your ideas for what I should rebrand into a health food next.
And I think that's one of the biggest problems in our food industry today.
Is marketing.
Marketing. I hate to say it. If you're in marketing,
people got to just realize that everything you hear isn't true.
Not even close.
That's what I say. Yeah, you can't, especially when it comes to some of these foods, especially health foods. because a lot of the things that are actually packaged as health foods are not.
Well, I think he brought out a good point there. He put natures on it.
Yeah.
Because if you just put natural on there anywhere, oh, well, it's natural.
I've had a lot of people over the years say, well, so-and-so's natural. I'm like, hell, cocaine's natural.
I always tell them the white part on bird poo is natural, okay? That's even
Don't
worse
mean
than-
you want it, yeah.
Don't mean you want it, but it's natural.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I can't believe but it's a health food.
And that's marketing.
The reason white rice is prized in every country where people eat rice is because they know that the phytic acid, the arsenic, and the gut irritants that are in the brown rice outer layer, they do not make up for the fact that there's fiber in it. You can get fiber from other places that don't have all of those negative things.
I love eating like white rice with my sushi.
Me too, man. It's cooked and cooled, which is what you want because that makes more resistant starch. And let's face it, you don't get meaningful vitamins from your brown rice. The fact that there's more of them in there than white rice doesn't matter because you have to eat 6 pounds of it or something to get enough vitamins to matter. And then you're just going to be fat. And the fact that brown rice and beans is somehow a complete protein, it doesn't matter because you have 400 grams of carbs to get enough complete protein to make a difference. And then you are actually obese and really, really full and probably farting a lot. So like, let's just face reality. If you ignore a whole bunch of things that you just didn't want to pay attention to so you can focus on one good thing, you sound a lot like Big Food with the way that they sell food to us.
Boy, he hit the nail on the head, didn't he? He really did.
You're always talking about that complete protein, people try to say.
You know, I get these people that they eat the rice and the beans and they say, well, you know, like he said, you're going to have to eat 40 pounds of this stupid stuff to get that. But everybody says, oh, but it's a complete protein. Bull.
And I will say, people that eat rice every day,
Yes.
almost all are pre-diabetic and diabetic. We see it all the time. We see it all day, every day. And whether it's where people just have been taught that brown rice is healthier, and he's right, it contains things you don't want.
Yeah, especially that phytic acid. I mean, that stuff, it can
which is
really
an
be rough on you.
anti-nutrient.
The
phytic acid that's in brown rice is an anti-nutrient, and there's a lot of anti-nutrients out there, but it actually will keep you from absorbing certain things. So.
It sure will. But yeah, I mean, that was a really good one. Right on the money.
Right. I agree.